Welcome to another edition of Daily Airline News, focusing on the search for MH370, which is going to resume very soon. I'm Jeffrey Thomas, and I'm delighted to say, joined by my co-host for this episode, Blaine Gibson. Greetings, Blaine. How are you?
I'm okay, Jeffrey. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So, viewers, last time that Blaine and I were talking, we were going through the most important pieces of debris that have been found from MH370. Now, we did cover this very much earlier in the year, but we wanted to go over it again and refresh your memories ahead of the resumption of the search. So Blaine is going to kick this off with one more piece from Annex 13 and then 5 additional pieces that he believes are the most important pieces of debris, and explain why. So, Blaine, it's over to you.
Yes, thank you, Jeffrey. In the last episode, we covered 14 key pieces of debris from the Annex 13 report. And remember, Annex 13 disbanded in the middle of July around 2019, so that any debris that arrived in Malaysia since then didn't get investigated officially and published by them at all. So we did 14 from there. Here is the 15th. This is in the Annex 13 report, and that is the vertical stabilizer, the tail, the only piece that has red on it. And that was found in Lingalinga, Mozambique by Jean Villunes. And the reason that is significant is that it shows that the tail, the vertical stabilizer, shattered on impact as well, the whole aircraft. And if you look at the photo, you can compare it to the tail of Ethiopian 961, which was a controlled ditching in the Comoros Islands. And you see that even though that plane broke apart a fair amount, the tail is quite intact, floating. Now, 370 ATSB concluded was not a ditching. This is an additional piece of evidence that the plane shattered on impact, because even in the rough seas of the southern Indian Ocean, where the plane would break apart more than in the Comoros, this is a small shattered piece of the tail, and it shows that it was not a ditching. Many engineers have said that this is a significant piece for that reason, from Mozambique.
Sure. Yep, agree. So the next piece is the base plate vortex generator, isn't it, Blaine?
Yes, that concludes the Annex 13 report. Remember that in addition to the 33 pieces in the Annex 13 report, there are another 21 pieces that are not in it, that have not been officially investigated. Some are quite significant. And we start out with the base plate of the vortex generator. If you're sitting in the window looking at the engine, there's a fin sticking out at you from the engine cowling. And this is the base plate of that fin. Now, it was found washed ashore in the summer of 2016 by 2 fishermen in Anton Bay. I got a hold of it in late 2016, early 2017, and we held on to it while Malaysia finalized the agreement with Madagascar for the handover of debris. We handed it over to Madagascar authorities, and then the consul was assassinated in August of 2017. And he was the one who was supposed to, under the protocol, deliver the debris. So this key piece of debris stayed in Madagascar for 2 years during the investigation into his assassination, which is tragic because this debris is quite significant. I have shown photos of it to independent group members, engineers. I showed photos to a Boeing engineer. They agree that is the base plate of this vortex generator on the cowling, and they say that it very rarely separates during a crash, only in a very high-speed crash. So it tells us a lot about how the plane impacted the water.
Sure.
And I wish that I finally got it delivered to Malaysia in September of 2019. However, no official investigation. Annex 13 had disbanded, so that's why this is not incorporated in the report.
So what about the next? The next one, I think, is the Jeffreys Bay spoiler.
Yes, and this is a very significant piece. It is the most recent piece of 370 debris that has already been public to wash ashore. It's the most recent piece that was delivered to Malaysia for investigation. It was found washed ashore by a surfer in Jeffreys Bay, South Africa, in August of 2020. And it didn't become public until February of 2021. We and the families put a little pressure on Malaysia to get it delivered. It was delivered to Malaysia in, I believe, May of 2021. But a very good analysis of this piece from high resolution photographs was done by a Malaysian engineer, a Boeing engineer, and by members of the independent group, and they determined that it was the right wing inboard spoiler from the right wing. So we now have from the right wing the flaperon, the wing flap, an aileron, the fairing, the right wing trailing edge panel. And with the Jeffreys Bay spoiler, we would have 9 pieces of the right wing. And it, together with the others, can be analyzed to determine how the wing broke apart. Now, the independent group guys thought that the right wing broke apart in the midair in a high-speed dive. ATSB and Annex 13 left that open. They just said that it was not a ditching. The wing flap was retracted, but they left open the possibility that it broke up in the air on the way down or in a high-speed impact with the water. But this is a very significant piece to how the plane impacted the water and how the plane broke apart.
Yeah. Then we have the Tatalie piece, don't we?
Yes, this piece was found washed ashore in early 2017 by a fisherman in Ansirica, Madagascar, named Tatalie. He did not know what it was. His wife was using it as a washing board. And when I went to Ansirica in November of 2022, he had collected a lot of things from the ocean in his yard. And we spotted this one, which to me was quite clearly from the aircraft, from Malaysia 370. And what is so important about this debris, it has the off-white Malaysia Airlines skin, the brown hexagonal honeycomb, and the black carbon fiber polymer. But unique to this piece, it has 4 parallel slices right through the black carbon fiber polymer and honeycomb, like a knife through butter. 4 parallel slices, the longest one being about 4 inches long, that probably occurred when the aircraft impacted the water and might have been the blades from the engine hitting whatever this piece was. So it is very important that this piece be thoroughly investigated. However, unfortunately, now some people claimed it was from a yacht. It's not from a racing yacht. I had professional aviation engineers examined high-resolution photos of it. They determined that it was of aircraft origin, consistent with a Boeing 777. It sat in Madagascar for a long time, waiting for Malaysia to pay for delivery and investigate, which they didn't do. But I can now reveal some very recent information that this piece was examined by a professional aviation expert, unbeknownst to me, unconnected with me, and has since been delivered to responsible authorities in an unspecified country for official investigation. I don't know where it went, and I don't know if we'll hear where it went, but it is aviation origin. It is from Malaysia 370. They need to identify where exactly it's from, but I don't know who's investigating it or what the result is or if we'll even hear it. It also, some people claimed it was from the Team Vestas wind yacht, which it clearly was not. It's aviation origin.
Yeah, agreed. So the next one, Blaine, I think is going to be Broken O.
Yes, and I call it Broken O simply because it has part of what looks like it's an O, but it might not be an O. It could just be a circle that goes around a valve or a semicircle that is stenciled on. But it is the Malaysia Airlines white. It is the hexagonal honeycomb. It is the carbon fiber polymer. Now, this piece, I actually, since Malaysia wasn't paying for delivery and investigating, I actually delivered it to Malaysia myself. And I had professional aviation engineers physically examine it. They determined that it was of aviation origin, consistent with a Boeing 777, but they weren't sure exactly where on the plane it was from. So I handed it to the Malaysia 370 families, and they handed it in to the Malaysian authorities on the 10-year anniversary for investigation. We still do not have an official result of that. And I hope that there is one, because it would be very good to know where this is from. It is aviation origin and almost certainly Malaysia 370.
Well, absolutely. That could be a landing gear nose wheel door.
It could be, or it could be from the air conditioning vents or from some undercarriage hatch or cargo. We don't know. It could be any of those, but you need to have an official investigation with the manual to determine it.
Yeah. Now that's, do you have any other debris to discuss, Blaine?
Well, right there, we're up to 19 key
Yep.
pieces of debris, and I want to make it an even 20.
Yeah.
And I believe that number 20 is coming.
Yeah.
And so I'm holding that space open for a piece of debris that I am hoping to have very soon and have good high resolution photos of it. And I'll just leave it at that. I will say for the meantime that the 20 pieces from the Annex 13 report and post Annex 13, 20 pieces of small shattered interior cabin debris. While each piece is not that significant alone,
No,
except the monitor case is significant, while each piece is, the others are not that significant alone, altogether they are evidence that the main cabin and fuselage tragically shattered on impact.
yeah. Now, Blaine, before we get into some questions, you want to mention some of our viewers.
Yes, I do. Some trolls appeared with some very nasty comments that I don't want to go into. However, most of the comments from viewers were extremely supportive. And so I want to send out a special thanks to Sweet Magnolia for defending me against these trolls. to Juan Carlos Savasco, Rachel Perry, Craig Novi, Brush It Off 503, Stu WNZ, Barry McQuaid, Matthew Betts, Patrick Lockerbie, 1989I, Tanya Frabrej, Billy Teggers, Covert Customer. I want to thank you all for your compliments and support of me and of Jeffrey and of this channel. And especially, I want to thank HKG001 and Renato2542. Renato2542 paid me the greatest compliment on my hair and said I look 20 years younger. So I want to thank you very much.
Yeah, oh, good on you. That's great. So, I've got some questions for you, Blaine. First of all, Sharon Duffy, Scott RS, and Linda Robush 7785 want to see a map of where the debris was found, and of course pictures would be helpful. Or of course we've been showing you some pictures. So we've shown you this map before, but here it is again. This is where all the debris was found. So there's several maps we're showing you now. So hopefully that satisfies your request. Now, John Boycott 3513, he says the BBC had covered 370 debris, so a question was incorrect to say the UK media did not cover it. In February 25, 2022, there's a whole article on Blaine titled "The Man Solving MH370." It is still there and easy to find. That's a good comment, isn't it?
Yes, that's a very good comment. And John Boycott, you're absolutely right. The BBC has provided excellent coverage. When I found the debris in Madagascar, I was on GMT live from Madagascar. They've done an excellent documentary. Richard Westcott has been very good and interviewed me and other people in coverage of Malaysia 370. The viewer was referring to some of the tabloid and internet media and said that he didn't get the coverage of the debris. But the BBC has been excellent. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, the BBC is very, very good. Like you, I do work for them, so yeah, they're usually spot on the mark. So Eric Noack, 1234, he asks Blaine, and I know we've answered this before, but we are going to answer it again. Why has no debris washed up on the Australian coast? Does this mean the crash site is wrong? So I'm going to let you answer it, and if you don't answer it correctly, I'll correct you.
Okay. And Icarus also answered it quite correctly.
Yeah.
The Lewin Current keeps the coast of West Australia quite clean. So that's why no debris has washed ashore there. Now, if the crash site were south of Cape Lewin, there would be some debris that would be carried east and washed ashore on the rugged south coast of Australia, and maybe over to Tasmania, the farther south you get. However, for any crash that's north of Cape Lewin, the debris is going to go north and then west towards Africa, and it would be very, very unlikely that it would make landfall on the coast of West Australia because of the Lewin Current. There is a friend of mine who has methodically searched the coast of West Australia and has not found any pieces of Malaysia 370. And his effort has contributed a lot to understanding of the drift analysis.
We should mention, though, Blaine, just if I can clarify something, the crash site is about 1,500, 1,600 kilometres west of the Perth and west of the coast. and that sits it in the Western Australian current, which goes north. The Lewin
Yes.
current, so that's the Western Australian current, and we're showing a map of it right now on the screen. The Western Australian current goes north to the equator, then it turns west across to Africa and down the African coast, which is why the debris is all over there. The Lewin current runs down the coast of Western Australia in a north to south direction, and it sort of really is like a buffer. So the West Australian current goes north, and then as you get closer to the coast, you've got the Lewin current going south. So the debris just goes straight north. So just to clarify,
Yes.
yeah,
It gets carried north and then west towards Africa. It would not go east and cross the Lewin current.
now
It
it's
could not.
also possible that some debris that would be washed down the African coast then would turn eastward and could get swept along by the Southern Ocean currents and maybe end up in Tasmania.
That's correct. It very well could on
Yeah.
its first
Sec-
time around or
yeah.
second or even third time around by
Yeah.
now. It's been so many years. There could be debris showing up on the remote coast of southern Australia or even Tasmania. There
Yeah.
still could.
Yeah. So next question we've got for you, Blaine, is Batson 595. Why did it fall upon private individuals to perform this search? That's a ripper question. I love it. You can
It's a
answer that.
great question. And the
Yeah.
reason, very simply, is because the officials weren't doing it.
Yep. Then they're not interested. I mean, we've said this many times. Malaysia does not want to find this aeroplane.
No notice was given by Malaysia or Annex 13 or ATSB to nations in the southwestern Indian Ocean in Africa to be on the lookout for debris until the flaperon was found. And
Yeah.
then when the flaperon was found, notice was given, and France and Mauritius did searches. Madagascar wanted to do a coastal search and asked Malaysia for some money to do it, and Malaysia declined.
Yeah.
So the reason it's been private individuals is that the officials weren't doing it. Only one piece of
Yeah.
debris was found by an official, a Coast Guard officer in Mauritius on foot patrol. All the others have been done and found by private citizens because the officials missed the ball on that one. They didn't do anything. It's tragic.
And also, of course, you've got the individuals like Richard Godfrey, Victor Inanello, Don Thompson, Mike Exner, all these guys, all these scientists or aerospace engineers or satellite guys. They've been doing so much work on the tracking of MH370 as well.
Yes, these are the rocket scientists. I'm
Yep.
just the wreck hunter. I go
Yep.
out and listen to the oceanographers and the local fishermen and look for debris, and that helps. But we need all those people working together to narrow the crash site down.
Absolutely. And on that same theme, Blaine, Studio Pop, the 347, there must be thousands of bits out in the ocean, beaches, and unreachable locations. Malaysia certainly appears reluctant and slow. Well, that would be the understatement of the year, I think.
Yes, that's very true. It is tragic that there was no official notice given to nations in Africa and nearby islands. It is tragic that no official search was ever done. It should have been.
Yeah, it should have. And on the same theme, Mick K. Berry or Mick Berry 5331, how are these pieces identified to make sure they are really from MH370? That's a good question. Many people ask that question. I know we've answered it, Blaine, but perhaps you can answer it again.
That's an excellent question. They're very conservative. They will only confirm absolutely a piece as being from Malaysia 370, which is 9mmRO, if it has a matching serial number. So that's why only 3 pieces have been absolutely confirmed, because most of the pieces are small and shattered and don't have serial numbers on them. And some confusion has been created by the classification they came up with, saying, well, it's almost certainly or highly likely from Malaysia 370. Those are all from Malaysia 370. They just don't have serial numbers to match and absolutely confirm. So what they do instead, they analyze the paint, they analyze the stencil, they look for matching part numbers, they check to see if they have corresponding debris from Malaysia 17. They are very thorough in making sure that this could only be from Malaysia 370. The interior cabin debris has a typical Malaysia Airlines snail trail veneer. They match the fabric. They match where exactly it is on the plane. And if they do not know exactly where it is on the plane, they simply list it in the debris report as an unidentified part. However, there are many ways that they match it to 9mmRO, to Malaysia 370.
Yep, indeed. Yeah. Now, from Pam James, 4917, is it true that since no other Malaysian 777 is missing, that all the pieces must be from 370? Same sort of question, really.
Yes, and it's a very good question, because Malaysia 370 is the only plane, Boeing 777, that is missing. And it's the only one that disappeared in the southern Indian Ocean. And I did mention that, and I know that in the case of No Step, because No Step was the second piece found, they checked to see if they had the equivalent from Malaysia 17, and they did. So they knew that No Step could only be from Malaysia 370. They matched the part numbers, they matched the stencil, unique Malaysia Airlines, and they even went to that extra step of checking. So yes, it does logically, unless you're into totally far out wild conspiracy theories, then all that debris can only be from Malaysia 370.
So Blaine, we're running out of time, but I've got 2 quick questions that I really think we should answer, and I want you to give me a brief answer. From Jeff Daniel, referring to Heidelberg SA 295, he said he found it interesting that when Ocean Infinity did trials off Mauritius with their new equipment, he wondered if the locations where they did the trials were where the known location of the Heidelberg debris field was. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember. I have been to the Helderberg Memorial in Mauritius. I know where the crash site is. I saw that Icarus correctly answered your question. Those trials were northwest of Mauritius. They were not where the Helderberg crash site was, which was to east. But a very good question.
Now, Joseph Lamb, let's finish off with Joseph's question. I like this one, 9175. Where is the common sense in the need to locate this wreckage? He says, we just print money to cover the cost of this nonsense. What is the dollar limit to this apparent endless search of this aircraft that everybody knows crashed into the ocean? Well, that's a question that many people ask. What's your quick view on that, Blaine?
Well, my quick view on that is the reason to find it is to give the families and the flying public the truth and the proof and the answers we all deserve.
Yeah.
And I would turn back to Joseph Lamb and say, what are you complaining about? It's not your money.
No.
Ocean Infinity is using its own money at its own risk for a no fine, no fee contract.
Mm,
Why do you object to them spending their money as they wish at their risk? And unless you're a Malaysian citizen and a taxpayer, in that case, you would pay the fee, the reward for finding it, only if it is found.
mm.
Unless you're a Malaysian taxpayer, you're not spending anything at all. So I just turn the question back to you, Joseph Lamb, and say, why do you object to how someone else is spending their money? It's not your money.
Also, the other thing too, Blaine, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, we are by nature an inquisitive race. We do want to find answers. We do want to find missing planes, and we do want to find missing ships like the Titanic, like the Bismarck, like HMS Hood. We want to give closure to relatives. Sometimes those relatives are in their thousands. So it's very, very important for us as a race of compassionate people that we want to find, we want to give closure, but we also want to know what happened. And from an aviation point of view, we need to know exactly what happened. Now, is there, for instance, some totally unknown flaw in the 777? I don't think so at all. But we do need to know what happened and why it happened so we can prevent it happening again. And that's a very important part of trying to find MH370. Would you not agree, Blaine?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
We want to know, we need to know, the families need to know. And thanks to Ocean Infinity, we don't even have to spend any money to get those answers. They are assuming that risk themselves, and there are other philanthropists and companies out there, if Ocean Infinity does not find it, who might be willing to assume that risk themselves. So, yes, we need to find it. We need the answers, and the family need answers.
In fact, on that note, Blaine, I'm sure I'm right in saying yours and my and Richard Godfrey as well, sincere thanks to Ocean Infinity for taking that risk and trying to bring closure to the relatives. I know that they are absolutely focused on doing that, and it's a very noble thing that they're doing. I think it's fantastic, and I take my hat off to them. You agree?
Yes, it is. So do I. I take my hat off.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Blaine, thank you very much indeed for answering these questions and going through these very important pieces of debris. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Jeffrey, and thanks to all viewers for your good questions, interest, and support.
And viewers, thank you again for watching. We do appreciate your support. Please subscribe to us. Please like us. Please do keep those wonderful supportive comments coming. We love them. And of course, keep those great questions coming. We do appreciate them very much indeed. And we'll be back with Blaine probably on the weekend. Blaine, you up for another session on the weekend?
Yes, I am, whenever you want.
Great. Let's do it on the weekend. Okay, viewers,
Okay.
please do tune in tomorrow. I'll be back with Richard Godfrey tomorrow, so please do tune in. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.